passes. Deliberate and act on resolution, never mind, I'm in the wrong place. Deliberate and act on a recommendation of bid award for the annual street and drainage maintenance contract. Mr. Berry?
Mayor and Commissioners, this request for bids is to renew a contract that the city has had in place for a number of years. We use the contract to do minor projects, maintenance-oriented projects on street and drainage facilities, replacement of small quantities of curb and gutter, sidewalk, asphalt patching, those types of projects. So we have the results of a sealed bid. We did get one bid in response to our request for bids, and that's from WM Serrazio Construction. On your in front of you, not in your packet, but we had a matrix that compares the previous or prices from the previous contract, and so you can compare what we've had. It's small quantity work, and it's not something that we expect to get many bids on. So we're happy to have one contractor in town that's capable of doing the work, and will provide pricing for it. Of course, some of the work, some of the maintenance work, we also do in-house with our crews. Some of the work that you would see here is proposed for utility cuts or utility improvements that would be in the street. And we do have Dan Campbell from Raton Waterworks on hand to discuss Raton Waterworks' role in the contract. Now, the one thing I would say is that as far as street improvements go, we really have one source of funding, and that's our gasoline tax. And it's rather limited. We can expect maybe $125,000 to $150,000 a year in revenues from that source to work on streets. And what we try to do is leverage that to the extent that we can. So we do apply for funding under the local government road fund. That's the MAP projects or the co-op projects. And we'll be talking about the upcoming cycle on those at the February 26th meeting. The other program that we've offered is if property owners will split the cost really on some projects, on proposed improvements, then that helps make that a priority. So occasionally we'll see property owners that want to replace a section of curb and gutter, or for an example, in front of St. Pat's Church, we recently did that. That was a cost-sharing arrangement where the city paid 50% of it, and the church paid 50% of that improvement. It was curb and gutter and sidewalk, and if you remember, that was very deteriorated. So that helps us stretch our limited dollars. So I would reiterate to any property owner that we do have that program, and that would include street improvements as well. So there's a number of things that we may be able to work with property owners on in regard to that. But I do have Mr. Campbell to talk about the Water Department's commitment to this contract as well.
Well, we would just typically piggyback on the city's contract like we always have. I guess would consider good that we actually did get a bid. We do have a contractor that has asphalt capabilities. There's been times in the past when we used our own crews and just if there was a hot plant in the area. We do have that capability, and it reduced staffing levels for both the city and the water department. We've always done this. We'll try to do some in-house, but somewhere you don't get a lot of bids on this because it's small cuts, and some of our utility cuts can be 2 foot wide, 5 foot long, and it's constant mobilization from one spot to another. So it is going to be some of your most expensive. I do see it looks like all categories he did go up on, but we would just have to move forward with it there and repair the street. At least it gives us an option to quickly try to get it done when the weather permits.
I guess I would add, Mayor and Commission, that the total dollars that you see here are based on kind of an arbitrary quantity amount that you see. We'll see during the year how many of those utility cuts that we have, and that can be because of new taps or retaps that are going in. water line breaks, those kind of things. So we kind of set it up like we would a budget where we're estimating those quantities.
What I've noticed when I compare the two, the previous bid and this year's bid, is the unit prices are exactly the same. What has changed is the quantity.
We would recommend for award, Mayor and Commission.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to do a bid award for the annual street and drainage maintenance contract to Bill Serrazio. Can we have a roll call vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Sagada,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Giacomo,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
Mayor Mance.
Yes, motion passes. On an RFP number 2015-01-21, award of governmental liquor license vendor for the City of Raton's Convention Center.
Mayor and Commission, we have struggled with the ability to have events at the convention center where it may be desired by the party to serve liquor or alcohol. It used to be that we would do a liquor license transfer for each event. That's become much more difficult, if not impossible. So one of the options that we bring to the commission is the option of a governmental liquor license application. That would be the City of Raton applying for a liquor license specific to the convention center through the New Mexico Alcohol and Gaming Division. We also anticipate that we would use a third-party vendor to actually operate that liquor vending operation, and that third party would have to be named in the application. So we bring this to you as a step to filling out the application. Now, in addition, the commission had asked, well, what's our liability or expenses with this? So to submit the application, there's a $200 non-refundable fee. The risk management through New Mexico Municipal League advises us that there is a special coverage for that type of usage. So we're in contact with the insurance company that would provide that. I'll have an amount for you next week. We're not sure what the cost is, but there is a special coverage for that we would have to obtain. By taking action tonight, you're not obligated in any way. This is just a step to allow us to proceed along with completing the application to go to the state. And in the application, it states that they anticipate about a 60-day process. There would be a public hearing and the steps that they would go through. The city would have a resident agent identified. That typically is the city manager, and then the vendor would as well. So we did issue a request for proposals. You did receive 2 proposals. The staff has given you a tabulation of the scores on the 2 proposals received. They were submitted by Raton Country Club and Raton Main Street. Very close, both very capable of providing the service. We were pleased with that outcome, and you have the tabulation in front of you.
Mr. Berry and fellow commissioners, I make a motion that we accept the award of government liquor license vendor for the City of Raton to the Raton Country Club, who was the high scorer.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to award the governmental liquor license vendor for the City of Raton's Convention Center to the Raton Country Club. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Giacomo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sagada,
Yes.
Mayor Mance.
Yes, motion passes. Public hearing on Papa Sweet Shop Restaurant application for a restaurant beer and wine license.
Mayor and Commission, I think you have the restaurant liquor license application in front of you that does require city commission action. Again, it goes to the New Mexico Regulation and Licensing Department, Alcohol and Gaming Division.
I'll make a motion to accept the Papa Sweet Shop Restaurant application for the restaurant beer and wine license.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the application for a restaurant beer and wine license to Papa Sweet Shop Restaurant. We roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Commissioner Giacomo?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sagata?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster?
Yes.
Mayor Mintz?
Yes. Motion passes. Manager's report?
Mayor and Commission, just to report on work activities of the city. We have had some pretty nice weather in about the last week, so the Public Works crew has taken that opportunity to try to catch up on asphalt patching a little bit. After some of the snow and ice storms, we start to see those potholes develop. So we've worked on the primaries. They're we understand that there are a lot more potholes on the secondary streets, but we use that good weather when we can to try to get out there and do a little bit. In addition, we've had the crew working primarily on Second Street to try to clean that up, and we had thrown out a lot of cinders in some of the previous storms and really had a big accumulation there. It's a little early. Typically, we would do that maybe March or April, but there was just such an accumulation out there that, and because we had good weather, we got out there and worked on that. If we get more snow, we'll probably have to do this again later in the year, but it was looking a little rough downtown there. So you've seen the crew out doing that. As far as our building maintenance crew, we did have a water line leak at the Schuler Theater that they worked on today. That's some more of that old galvanized piping that we really need to look at replacing. So we're going to talk to some of the stakeholders at the Schuler Theater, as well as get the fire chief and the building maintenance crew to do a walk through at the Schuler and come up with a list of what we need to be working on, either as far as maintenance or capital improvements to the building. But this was a pipeline that's in the crawl space, very limited space, and just old pipe. So we're working on that. It was the same at the library. We're anticipating looking at some plumbing that's in the basement of the library that's given us some problems. The crew has been started a project to replace some floor covering in the restrooms at the library. They're also beginning doing some floor polishing at the convention center. And we did do a walkthrough with the fire chief at the convention center to try to make a list of the needs on that building as well. So as far as keeping up with the buildings, that's a never-ending process, but we will bring in an estimate of some of the costs on city buildings that we anticipate in the future. The parks crew has been helping out with some of those projects, but they're also cleaning the dugouts and preparing some of the baseball fields with some of the good weather. Myself, Commissioner Sagata, and Commissioner Chavez had made a trip to Santa Fe on February 3rd, and we met with Lieutenant Governor John Sanchez in his office, and we talked about economic development there and what assistance the Lieutenant Governor could give us as far as economic development. And also we talked about our goals and capital outlay. We also met with Representative Roche and Senator Campos as far as capital outlay, and then I had met with Ryan Flynn and Senator Campos again, specific about our number one priority, which is the solid waste transfer station. I would anticipate making trips again to Santa Fe. Of course, the 12th is the legislative reception. I would plan to be there on the 16th and the 20th. That's Monday and Friday of next week, and then again at the 24th and 25th at the Municipal League. So on these trips, we'll obtain signatures from Representative Roche and Senator Campos again and have our capital outlay submitted. And we anticipate all that to happen on Thursday. I did attend an inspection at the Cimarron pre-treatment facility, the pre-sedimentation building with Dan Campbell and engineer from QPEC, Richard Pfeiffer. And there is a proposal to make some structural repairs to that building. That building had some leakage and some settling of the building, so there's proposed work to restore that building. We also went to Lake Dorothy and looked at spillway improvements for Lake Dorothy, which have been ordered by the Colorado engineering people. I've had conversation with John Davidson as far as update on the Highlands building. Mr. Davidson is working with the Highlands Board and their attorney as far as finishing up some of the paperwork. We would anticipate getting that back to you fairly quickly. We would also anticipate meeting with TSJC next week as far as a discussion about getting programs up and running. There is a survey that will be required for the transfer, so I would anticipate that it would cost City of Raton under $500 to complete the survey for the transfer of this building. And I would authorize that if the commission, unless the commission would like to discuss that, we'll get the survey going. The Solid Waste Department is working right now to update their annual reports that are required and financial assurance for state solid waste facilities, and that's required by the New Mexico Environment Department. I did accept a lot of comment on the memorandum of understanding between the Chamber of Commerce and City of Raton, or the Chamber of Economic Development, and we will attempt to have a draft ready for the Lodgers Tax Board meeting on February 18th for them to take a look at, and then subsequently, after some work, come back to the commission with a revised memorandum of understanding. And then lastly, Mayor, I would like to point out that we do have on the wall the donation of an art piece that was prepared and painted and donated by Mr. Carl Swanson of Raton, and it does demonstrate some of the artistic talent that we have locally, and hopefully we can display more work and kind of brag on our local artists. But I thought that was a great piece of work, and I like the spot for it. If you like that, we'd like to display it there.
Oh, we know you didn't pick it out, so.
I didn't. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
I'd like to address the trip to the legislature that we went down. I would like to know if I could get reimbursed for I purchased a package of biscuititos in the hall, but Senator Campos and the city manager ate most of them. So what I would like to see if I could get reimbursed for that.
That's gonna be a tough one.
You could take up a collection.
Do we want to address the survey at this time and approve the $500 expenditure?
I would say we give Mr. Barry the authority to proceed with that.
Right, Rick?
I make that motion.
Okay. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Sagada,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Giacomo,
Yes.
Mayor Mance.
Yes. Motion passes. Go ahead with your survey.
Thank you.
Is there anything else? Is there anything else that needs to come before this board?
I would just like to thank the city crew also. We had an issue down at the senior center with one of our water heaters that caused quite a mess, and Rico and the crew came down and got it taken care of, and did a very good job, and I'd just like to thank the staff for that.
I'd like to thank you and the staff for cleaning the streets downtown. It's a great improvement.
Big improvement.
I'd like to thank the staff for improving the water drainage situation near my home up on North First.
Anything else? Hearing none? Meeting adjourned.